Em 2021, o Digital, a fusão do mundo físico e digital, passou a fazer parte das nossas vidas como nunca, proporcionando diversas experiências de aprendizado. No quarto ano do Maker Day Brasil, numa edição híbrida, vamos pôr as mãos na massa, tanto online quanto presencialmente. Toda a comunidade Maker irá se conectar. Serão 24 American Spaces de todo o Brasil a compartilhar suas melhores práticas e ideias. Vamos voltar às raízes do movimento Maker, buscando soluções para os desafios de hoje. Esta será a Green Edition, com atividades focadas em questões de sustentabilidade e de responsabilidade ambiental, com atividades colaborativas, criativas e inovadoras. Dia 25 de setembro, a quarta edição do Maker Day Brasil, Green Edition.
Olá, professores, pais, alunos e makers. Bem-vindo à quarta edição do Maker Day Brasil. Este ano é a edição verde, com o slogan Criando movimentos sustentáveis através da cultura maker. Gostaria de parabenizar os 24 espaços americanos que estão participando e oferecendo programas makers inovadores em seus espaços e também online. Todos vocês que se inscreveram para participar desta nova edição podem se considerar makers. Por meio da inovação e criatividade, os makers sempre buscaram criar soluções para os desafios do nosso cotidiano. Uma mentalidade maker é o que o mundo precisa agora, mais do que nunca, para lidar com os inúmeros desafios que enfrentamos, particularmente na área do meio ambiente. Por meio dessa colaboração, vocês, como makers, podem trabalhar juntos para desenvolver soluções para criar um mundo mais verde e melhor para o amanhã. Você verá essa engenhosidade em todos os programas oferecidos no Maker Day Brasil, que você pode fazer com segurança em sua casa. Aproveite a oportunidade, desafie seu conhecimento, compartilhe e aprenda coisas novas, mas acima de tudo, divirta-se.
Venha participar da quarta edição do Maker Day Brasil com 24 dos nossos centros binacionais espalhados pelo país. Este ano a edição vai ser bem green, com foco em buscar soluções para problemas ambientais na sua comunidade, criar produtos sustentáveis como um robô reciclado e muito mais. Venha exercitar sua criatividade e suas habilidades neste dia Maker. Nos vemos dia 25 de setembro.
Oi pessoal, eu gostaria de convidar vocês à quarta edição do Maker Day Brasil, ao Green Maker Edition. Vai ser uma muito divertida dia com atividades mão na massa com nossos 24 espaços americanos ao redor do Brasil. Seria uma oportunidade a refletir sobre os problemas ambientais das suas comunidades e possíveis soluções. Vamos ver vocês lá.
Oi galera, vocês têm uma oportunidade incrível de participar da quarta edição do Maker Day com nossa rede de espaços americanos. E desta vez é verde. Aprende a fazer um robô com materiais reciclados, faça papel com semetes ou faça seu próprio galho de chuva. E ouça o som da chuva caindo a qualquer hora de qualquer lugar. Tantos projetos legais, não perca a oportunidade.
Vai começar o workshop.
Então lá, oi gente, vamos começar. Hello everyone, good morning. A gente vai começar aqui mais uma palestra, mais uma oficina, um talk do nosso Maker Day Brasil, nossa quarta edição do Maker Day Brasil, a Green Edition. Hoje a gente vai falar um tema muito bacana com o teacher, vou já apresentar para vocês. Um tema muito legal que é sobre você realmente saber descartar alguns produtos recicláveis, que a gente pode reciclar de uma forma totalmente diferente. É muito legal. A gente vai explicar, não vou dar muitos spoilers aqui hoje. E nosso teacher hoje que vai dar esse talk, essa palestra, é o teacher Lucas. Acredito que muitos de vocês já conheçam ele, mas vamos lá apresentar o teacher Lucas, né? Ele já é um professor de inglês há mais de 12 anos, tem experiência internacional em Dublin, Irlanda, onde ele trabalhou e estudou. O Lucas também é formado em pedagogia e tem experiência no ensino de matemática para alunos do ensino fundamental e médio. Ele possui 1000 cursos, tem o Cambridge, o CELTA, o Michigan, entre muitos outros. Ele atualmente está cursando Delta, módulo 1. E, além disso, o Lucas ele é um Teacher Trainee e um Educador Maker certificado. A gente pode ver em algumas oficinas que ele faz, né? Um super Educador Maker. O Lucas ele também é TOEFL TCA e examinador oral dos testes de médio e muitos outros. E tem ampla experiência na preparação dos alunos para exame de proficiência. E é isso, gente. Esse é o Teacher Lucas. Vamos aí deixar um grande abraço para ele. A gente está podendo conversar hoje em dia, mas vamos deixar um grande abraço, começar a nossa palestra com ele. Então, Teacher, fique à vontade. Só lembrando, pessoal, que vocês têm que permanecer com a câmera e o microfone desligado. Qualquer dúvida, qualquer questionamento, vocês podem colocar tanto aqui no chat do Zoom, quanto no do YouTube, que a gente vai ter esse momento de responder as perguntas de vocês, né? Esse momento de interação, de perguntas e respostas. Então, podem deixar as perguntas de vocês e fiquem à vontade, tá bom, gente? Então, Teacher Lucas, bem-vindo.
Thank you very much. I'm going to start the talk all in English. That was something, it was asked from me. I have my students here live with me as well. Teacher Alexandre is a student. Both classes are advanced levels, so the talk has to be in English, and it was advertised as an English talk, so it's going to be all in English. But if you're watching us on YouTube, se você tiver alguma dúvida, se eu estiver falando muito rápido, se você não estiver entendendo, deixa lá um comentário no YouTube, eu posso mudar um pouquinho para o português também. But the talk is going to be all in English. I'm going to start sharing my screen with you so that you can see what I'm going to be discussing today. And when I was invited for this talk, I had to think about something that was useful, and it had to do with the Green Edition. This is the 4th year that ICBEU Manaus is celebrating the Maker Day. Maker Day is on September 25th, which is today. But here in Manaus, we celebrate the whole week. So we had the whole week of talks, workshops, and roundtables, and many different kinds of events. The Maker Day, not the Brazil version, but the Maker Day was established in 2014, if I'm not mistaken. It was because we have this day to celebrate the maker culture, the maker thinking, the maker education, especially, that the maker movement grew so fast and became so popular all around the world. So it was because of this simple and single action that the maker movement grew so fast. So this, as I said before, this is the 4th year ICBEU Manaus is celebrating the Maker Day. And this year, especially the Green Edition, I couldn't be prouder to be from Manaus participating. My talk today is going to be about it's going to revolve around the question, are you an environmentally friendly learner? And this question came, this idea for this talk came when I was organizing my room. Surprise yourselves. I was organizing everything that I have at home, and I realized the amount of material that I had to be recycled. And that came to my mind, if I have all this material, imagine my students. And so I had to talk, and by the end of this conversation, I really want you to be a bit more aware of the amount of material that you have, and also how to discard the materials that you don't use anymore properly, okay? So as Carol said, if you have any questions, you can write them in the chat box. You can leave a comment on the YouTube page, and we're gonna all be listening, reading all the comments, and I'll make sure that I answer them all, okay? First of all, I think it's very important for us to understand what being environmentally friendly means, right? And that's why I brought the definition. My students are here around me. They know I love to look for definitions. So I love to use the Cambridge dictionary. I think it's very important for us to understand the definition of words so that we can discuss about it. And being environmentally friendly mostly means to be not harmful to the environment. By that, I mean that you're not causing any damage to the environment, which means that you're trying to save it, you're trying to protect it, right? So that is what being an environmentally friendly person means. Also, there are some other interesting expressions that I consider of paramount importance for us to know. And these are only expressions and names, but what they carry, the message that they carry, is what actually matters. The first one is environmentally friendly, which is the one we have just discussed. It's trying to protect the environment, not causing any harm to it. Being an eco-friendly person also means that you care about the environment, and then you're doing everything that you can in order to protect the environment. So you're not only using, for example, products that do not harm the environment, chemicals that will be when thrown away will harm the environment, but also trying to reduce the use of these chemicals. And I think that's the most important. It's a combination between discarding these chemicals properly, but also trying to reduce the amount of these chemicals that you use every day. There is this third one, which is the expression to go green. And to go green means that you're changing your life. You're trying to adapt the way you live, the way you see things, the way you buy things, in order to become a more environmentally friendly. So to go green is a spirit, is a way of living, is a culture, basically. You start noticing things around you that could be changed. You start buying different products. You start analyzing everything that you already have at home and checking the things that you can recycle, checking the things that you can donate, actually having only the essential as well. And start questioning, for example, some brands and other companies who, for example, are still testing on animals, some brands that are still using chemicals which harm the environment, some companies that do not have any concern, or any companies which are not aware of how to protect the environment, how to grow and still have income and still have a revenue, but protecting the environment. And the idea of being green, and that's the idea of the name that we are using for the fourth edition of the Maker Day Brazil. To be green means that you are environmentally friendly, that you're going green, and that you're doing everything that you can in order to protect the environment. Now, how green are you so far? I would like you now to reflect a bit on how green you've been and how you're trying to not change your life completely, but at least adapt to some things so that you can help the environment. Before I move on, when I was preparing this workshop, I heard people saying, yeah, I'm only one person. And I'm sure everybody here has heard of this, of the saying that goes like this: do your part, and then doing your part, you'll be helping the environment. And I have this belief, and I would like by the end of this session that you also have this belief that by doing what belongs to you, by doing your part, but by helping the environment yourself, you're not only protecting it, but you're also serving as an example to other people, to people around you. I think that's something contagious. Helping others, the same as helping the environment, is something contagious, but it's a good contagious, right? It spreads very quickly around. So become an example of how to help the environment. Moving on, I would like to present to you this pie chart. Okay, in this pie chart here, we have the percentage of waste and the percentage of waste facilities around the world. This is not a Brazilian data. This data is from the United States. We're going to go over Manaus, to be more specific, which is the city I'm talking from. And I'm going to be presenting some tips around Manaus as well, where to discard the products, where to recycle, how to do it properly. But I'm sure you can do it in your city. All around Brazil, we have centers, we have stations, we have places where recycling is happening. So this, if you have a look at this, this is how waste is being discarded. Mostly 52%, more than half of it is still discarded in landfills. And only 25.8% goes to recycling centers, which means that more than half and less than half is still it's only being recycled. We have waste to energy plants, and we have composters. And composters are a place where organic waste is discarded, so it becomes compost in order to help with plants and other organic situations. But what I would like to call your attention to is this piece of information here, to be more specifically. From all the total waste in the USA, only 67% is paper and paperboard. And when I saw this pie chart, the first thing that came to my mind is, while students, I think that what we have is paper, basically, and mostly. So we use notebooks, we use books, and all of them are paper-based. And 67% of this recycled material is paper. But then we still have metal, we still have glass, we still have the plastic, and where all this material, do all this material go? Well, the answer is pretty simple. I'm going to play this video for you. I would like you to watch it so that you can learn a bit more where garbage goes, how it is recycled or how it is not recycled, okay? So I'm gonna play this video for you. I would like you to watch, and I've got some questions after that.
Solid waste, garbage, trash. Whatever you call it, you throw away 4.5 pounds of it a day. Now think about your neighborhood. Say you have at least 20 neighbors. Altogether, they're throwing away 90 pounds of trash a day and 630 pounds of trash a week. 363,369 people in Manatee County. That's 1,635,160.5 pounds of trash a day. If just one county produces over 1 million pounds of trash, how much do you think the rest of the world produces? Think of all the neighborhoods, businesses, your favorite restaurant or place to shop. They're all producing trash. So let's find out, where does our garbage go?
Well, it begins with the trucks going out into the residential neighborhoods to collect the garbage, solid waste, which we refer to as solid waste, yard waste, and recyclables. These garbage guys are picking up, 2,000 homes per day. Everybody thinks they're the only one maybe, but after having to collect that many residents, it makes it much easier for them. If it's bagged properly, canned properly, make sure it doesn't weigh more than 50 pounds. The truck then, when it reaches its full capacity, comes to the landfill. At the landfill, the trucks are then weighed. Once they're weighed in with their full load, then they dispose of that load at the top of the hill. And then they, again, turn around and come back over the scale where we weigh them with an empty load. And then we figure out the tonnage.
In 2015, 301,000 tons of garbage was buried at the Lena Road landfill. Our landfill won't last forever. After phase 3 is full, we only have one more area left to bury something we produce on a daily basis.
Right now, I think we have a life expectancy of 30 plus years. If we can maintain that by proper disposal methods and utilizing the recycling, we can keep the costs down with the garbage, as well as maintaining the shelf life out here at the landfill.
And the more people or residents and or businesses recycle, it prolongs the shelf life of the landfill by sorting your recyclable materials out rather than taking up valuable space in the landfill.
Recycling is the only way we can extend the life of our landfill. Our recycling center has areas to house everything from appliances, scrap metal, tires, and electronics to household hazardous waste that can contaminate the landfill if it's buried. We also recycle all the yard waste we pick up weekly.
If you could imagine all this stuff getting buried on top of that hill, probably from the time we started this till now, that third phase of the hill would already be done and we'd be working on the next phase. We only have one more phase of the landfill.
So the Lena Road landfill is where your garbage goes today. How long it has left depends on what you are throwing away. Every 3 months, Americans throw away enough aluminum to build our nation's entire commercial air fleet. Recycling a stack of newspaper just 3 feet high saves 1 tree. Improving and increasing recycling is one of the greatest opportunities for our environment, our natural resources, and our economy. Help your county reach its goal of recycling 75% of all solid waste by 2020. For more information on the landfill, household hazardous waste.
I think it's surprising, and that's a piece of information from the United States. Now, think about us here in Brazil, and think about us in Manaus. And you, who are not from Manaus, think about your city specifically. When we're dealing with this trash and when we're cleaning our houses, for example, we put everything into plastic bags and then we get rid of it. And perhaps you think that your work is done, your house is clean, your space is free of trash. But try to reflect on the place that trash you're throwing away is going. Because we are living in Manaus, like, even though your space is clean, that trash goes somewhere. And is it going to be recycled? Do we still have space for all the trash that is coming out of your house? If we think individually, if we think of our houses first, I think we can make a change, we can make an impact. And again, this is pretty much contagious. So if you start doing it in your house, maybe your neighbors will start doing it as well. If you start doing it in your condominium, maybe the other apartments, the other houses will also start doing it. That's something that we have to fight for, because this is our earth, this is our planet, and all the trash remains here. Even though your space is clean, that trash goes somewhere. And well, it may be harming lives as well. So when we talk about being environmentally friendly, we're not only talking about separating trash properly, but we are also talking about caring about other living living things, humans, but also animals in our planet. And I want to show you this picture here, because that is the purpose of this workshop. It's to raise awareness of how much stationery you've been using and how you've been discarding your stationery. Have you been using your notebooks completely and then discarding them properly? Have you been using your pens and clips and eraser and all kinds of stationery and even books and discarding them properly? There is this story that when you lose a pen, which is something pretty easy to happen, this pen goes to the lost items world. Let me tell you something, the lost items world doesn't exist. As soon as you lose something, this thing goes to the trash, and then it will end up in the landfill. And then if you don't discard it properly, there is ink, there are other chemicals present as well in these stationery that could harm the environment. Most of them are made of plastic, but and they contain plastic. But there's also the ones made of iron and other metals, which are harmful to the environment as well. I remember every year when I was in high school, I would, by the end of the year, collect everything that I had used. That was like a tradition, and separate all notebooks that I had. And then in the first year of high school, all that notebooks that I had used throughout the year and all that material that I didn't want to use anymore, they ended up going into trash. Until the moment I thought that I had to do something to make sure that that material was being discarded properly. So I went to look for places in Manaus where I could discard them properly, and when I could recycle what could be recycled, and where I could perhaps discard properly what couldn't be recycled. Because if you don't, again, that stationery, that material that you're discarding is going somewhere. And then this is the somewhere that the material is going. And we've been hearing a lot about these huge ocean landfills or ocean fills, places where the trash goes. And look at these pictures. How surprising are they for you? Do you still think that's something new? I think we have these all around the world. And if we don't stop now to think, I don't know, I may have 30, 40 people or a bit more watching this talk. But if I'm able to, by the end of this talk, if I'm able to motivate you to start thinking and reflecting about all the material, starting from your stationery, going up to the trash, the waste that your house, for example, produces, I'm already doing my part. And then maybe you can propagate this same idea to your friends and to your family members. But the important thing here is that we stop to think and that we reflect that all this waste is not going to the lost items world. It's going somewhere, and this somewhere is our rivers, it's the ocean, it's landfills, which are not going to last forever because we're producing more and more waste. Now, where to do it properly here in Manaus? I was checking the news, and this is very recent. This is from August 10, 2021, so this year. So this was in a website which I follow to follow the news, right? And I saw this. Here in Manaus, only 2% of all waste is recycled. And then there are some places here in Manaus where we can recycle things. Before I show you the places, I would like to share another anecdote with you. I participate in a program. I have a friend who participates in a program that helps people who live on the streets. And she was asking for water bottles, used water bottles, so that she could recycle those water bottles, fill them with clean water, and give to people who live on the streets. Then I decided that I would collect all bottles that I would use during a week, so that on Saturday I would share them with this friend of mine. So I started collecting all kinds of bottles, starting from water bottles to juice bottles. I don't drink soda, so I don't have soda bottles, but starting from water, going to juice and all kinds of bottles. And by the end of the week, only a week, 5 days, I started Monday. When it was Saturday, I had over 20 different bottles. Now imagine if I hadn't collected and kept all those bottles, where would they go? Would it have been discarded property? Well, I don't think so. So it may not seem something huge for you now, but if you stop to do and to discard them properly, you will notice how much we can, how much we can change what's around us. Now imagine your house and imagine the other houses from your neighborhood, from your condominium, from the place you live in. That's a huge change, right? And it starts with us. Now, these are some of the places here in Manaus which I found that can help you. Okay, so you can take a picture, you can screenshot. These are supermarkets, these are places. There are even more places, but just for you to have an idea how easy it is for you to discard materials properly. I mean, separate them into what's paper and paper card, and what's plastic, and what's metal, and what's organic waste that cannot be recycled. What is glass, especially, that has to be discarded very carefully. There was this problem that we used to have some time ago. I think it was 6 months ago. Some students realized that glass was being discarded incorrectly, and then they decided to build something, and that's the maker thinking, right? They decided to build something in order to have workers who were dealing directly with those kind of glasses to help them protect their hands. I'll have to stop this talk for a moment, and I will return very soon. Not now? Okay, so I still have some time and I'm gonna keep on talking, but soon I will stop the talk for a moment because we're gonna be live to Brazil, presenting all the workshops that we were having during Maker Day. So I have some visitors here in my classroom, and I will stop the talk in a moment so that we can present to Brazil what ICBEU Manaus has been doing during the Maker Day week that we're having. So these are some examples that you can see of places that you can discard your material properly. But remember, these places are not going to separate the materials for you, okay? Your waste has to go already separated, and it doesn't take much time from you, okay? Just separate sometimes so that you can, for example, clean up the plastic bottles that you have used, the glass bottles that you have used. Separating this waste doesn't take time if you're used to doing it. Now it's a practice, and like all kinds of practices, it has to become a routine. It needs a sequence. It needs repetition. So the more you start practicing separating these material into what can be recycled and what cannot be recycled, the easier it will get for you. So that's my personal invitation for you, and that's, I think, the key of this talk. If by the end of this talk you feel this need inside of you, that you want to do something to help the environment, that you want to go green, that you want to become a bit more of a environmentally friendly person, then my mission is accomplished. Also, I don't know if you knew that, but here in Manaus, we have our WhatsApp number that you can reach so that you can ask for help. So you can schedule a visit of big objects such as fridges, washing machines, TVs, cupboards, wardrobes, beds, and all kinds of furniture and big objects. You can ask for help instead of discarding them in our rivers, for example, or discarding them improperly. So here is the WhatsApp number. You can contact them. You can schedule a visit and leave everything ready, and they're going to go to your house to help you out. When I used to live with my grandmother in a neighborhood here in Manaus called Dom Pedro, I remember every Tuesday night we had collectors coming for recycled items. So we would separate them in different plastic bags, and we would name each plastic bag. Plastic, this is used paper and cardboard. So every Tuesday we would wait for them. We would separate during the week, and then on Tuesday we would discard. If you go into the Prefeitura de Manaus website, and if you're not from Manaus, go into your Prefeitura's website, you're gonna find the information, the necessary information for you to discard material property. Again, that's not something that will become a habit out of the blue. That's not something that is, but it's not something that's super difficult. It's something totally accessible. You can do it. You just need to try at least, okay? And finally, these are my final tips for you on how to become an eco-friendly learner or an eco-friendly student. These are some ideas that I have for you so that you can help the environment while being a learner. The first one is buy reusable products or products made of recycled content. I know that they may be still a bit more expensive, especially here in Brazil, but it's a way for you to help the environment. Buy only what's necessary. I've seen TikToks and other videos, Instagrams, of people buying, collecting such huge amount of stationery. And I say, yeah, that's totally fine. That's cool. But do you actually use all of that? Do you actually need all of that? Think about consuming things, thinking green. Do I need to buy all those products? And the products are going to be discarded at some point. And how are they going to be discarded? Where do they go? Always think there is no such a thing as going to the lost item world. Things are going to remain on this planet. And at some point, we're not going to have any other place for the things to go. And at some point, no, now, right? And they will end up on the streets. They will end up on oceans and the rivers all around. Recycle, recycle, recycle. Always think about recycle. Can I recycle this? Have I finished using this? Okay, so is it possible to recycle this piece of paper? Is it possible to recycle this notebook that I have? How can I do it? What part of this product is recycled? What can be recycled? What part of this product cannot be recycled? And this part that cannot, how do I discard it properly? Use sustainable transport. When I was preparing these, I really thought about Manaus, and I really thought about using sustainable transport here. And by sustainable transport, I mean a bike, for example. And then for those who don't know, Manaus is a absolutely hot city, and using the sustainable transport here is almost impossible. However, I do think that we can make some changes and some arrangements in our routine so that we can use public transportation and even our own private transportation a bit more green, if I could say that way. Reduce your power usage. That's even because of the price nowadays, right? So we have to start thinking about using it consciously and being aware of how we're using energy. Buy local, eat local. That's something that I've been trying to do for some moment. Remember, I told you I would have to stop for a moment. So this is the moment I'll stop. I'll come back very soon, but you can watch me talking to the whole country. Here we go. Okay. É super gostosa aqui, tem várias oficinas acontecendo, inclusive eu parei o meu talk ali rapidinho para vir falar com vocês, tem gente me assistindo, para o pessoal que está assistindo o meu talk aí, um abraço para vocês. O ICBEU Manaus esse ano está comemorando 65 anos, e é um prazer enorme para a gente comemorar 65 anos participando da 4ª edição do Maker Day Brasil, a Green Edition. E olha que coisa legal, eu falei hoje de manhã, preciso repetir agora, o prazer para a gente se combina pelo fato de nós estarmos celebrando 65 anos e pelo fato de nós estarmos fazendo a Green Edition diretamente do coração da Floresta Amazônica. Para a gente é um prazer enorme. Pelo 3º ano, eu acredito, o Maker Day para a gente tem sido uma semana. Então, a gente começa na segunda-feira e finaliza a semana hoje, no dia, no Maker Day, realmente. Hoje, a gente tem 8 oficinas acontecendo, todas as oficinas acontecendo online, algumas oficinas acontecendo, como o meu talk, por exemplo, acontecendo hybrid. Tem gente online, tem gente presencial assistindo também. Durante a semana foram 28 oficinas, workshops, roundtables, teve muita coisa acontecendo. A gente teve ideias de pessoas construindo arte com material reciclado. A gente teve ideias de experimentos makers comigo ontem e alguns dos meus alunos para fazer em casa. A gente está falando agora sobre como ser um environmentally friendly learner. Tem oficinas com microbits, com Arduino, como fazer, como regar uma planta automaticamente sem gastar água. Então, está cheio de coisa interessante. Novamente, eu gostaria de agradecer a todos os parceiros, os meus alunos que estão aqui, super giving support to me. Thank you very much. Agradecer a Embaixada dos Estados Unidos pela parceria, o ICBEU Manaus pela oportunidade. E é isso, gente. Vamos aproveitar que a gente ainda tem muita coisa durante o dia, tem muitos eventos acontecendo. Um grande abraço para o pessoal dos outros centros binacionais do Brasil, a parceria com vocês, essa parceria de sucesso, agradecer por essa parceria de sucesso também. O Yuri, um abraço também pelo 2º encontro no dia de hoje. E é isso. Até mais. Tchau. Valeu. Thank you. I think it's time for us to return, right? Alex changed my camera here. I have to adjust it again. Okay, I'll adjust it. I'm just going to start sharing my screen again so that I can finish. Our talk is going to an end, but I have to finish giving my tips for you to become an eco-friendly or an environmentally friendly learner. Use little to no paper. I think my students and teacher Alexander students as well are very familiar with the idea of using cell phones in classroom, using notes in classroom. I always ask my students to take notes. I think that's of paramount importance when learning, especially because we cannot trust our minds. We need to take notes in order to remember things. So if you're familiarized with your phone, and if you like using your phone all the time, try using it with a good purpose. Try using it to take notes, for example, so that you can stop using paper. I've been trying to get down on paper. I know that's really hard. Some people really like touching things and seeing things on the paper. But if you can't completely stop completely using paper, try to at least start little by little, you know, or I'd say use your the paper you're using, having in mind that that paper goes somewhere when you're done using that. And the last one, use environmentally friendly cleaning products. Remember that cleaning products are chemicals, and when discarded, those chemicals go into the environment. I have a bonus tip. I had a student who came to me before this talk, and she asked me to talk about sustainable fashion, which is something I am not really familiar with, but it's going to be my homework. And I invite you as well to learn a bit more about sustainable fashion, using clothes and buying clothes, having in mind that those clothes also go somewhere, discarding the clothes properly as well. Well, I think that's it. Again, as I said in the beginning, if I was able to make you feel and think a bit more about how you're consuming these days, I think my mission is accomplished with this workshop. It was a pleasure to be participating again in the Maker Day Brazil. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Teacher Lucas. It was amazing. Então, gente, esse é o momento. Se vocês tiverem alguma dúvida, algum questionamento, alguma pergunta, this is the time for you to let me know and let Teacher Lucas know.
Se você quiser que eu fale português também, eu sei falar português, eu me acho, né? Eu também sei falar português. Caboquinho lá de Paris, tem que saber falar também, né? A gente fala caboquinho.
Tranquilo. Vai ficar nessa mistura aqui de inglês e português.
Aproveitar.
Então, gente, esse é o momento, tá?
Presente aqui assistindo a gente, tanto os que estão presencialmente, os que estão online nos assistindo no YouTube. Sigam, se ainda não seguem, sigam o Instagram do Makerspace ICBEU Manaus. Sigam o Instagram do ICBEU também. E, se quiserem seguir o meu Instagram, estou lá, teacherlucas.students, para vocês. Vai lá, segue, que vocês vão ficar sabendo dos outros workshops e palestras que eu vou participar, sempre posto lá para vocês. Se não quiserem me seguir, segue o Makerspace, que o Makerspace está sempre me postando, a parceria é maravilhosa. Vocês vão saber tudo sobre a minha vida por lá, pelo Makerspace. Eu acho que é isso, né, Carol?
Então é isso, gente. Show. Muito obrigada, Teacher Lucas. Obrigada por todo mundo que assistiu. As pessoas que estavam no Zoom, no YouTube, em todos os lugares. Muito obrigada aos 24 centros binacionais que também estão participando desse evento, todos os cantos aí do Brasil. Queria agradecer também a Embaixada dos Estados Unidos, que está apoiando a gente nesse evento, está nos dando um braço nesse evento. Isso é muito bom. Continuem seguindo e acompanhando os eventos que vão ter. Continuem vendo as lives, assistindo os workshops, os talks. Pode entrar lá no site do ICBEU, fiquem atentos. E é isso aí, pessoal. Muito obrigada. Participem, continuem participando com a gente.
www.makerdaybrazil.com. Lá nesse site, inclusive é o site que é utilizado para todos os anos. Então, quando você quiser saber notícias sobre o Maker Day Brasil, que sempre acontece no dia 25 de setembro, a semana anterior para nós aqui no ICBEU Manaus, por exemplo, a gente já começa na segunda-feira, entra lá no site que você vai encontrar todos os workshops, não só os workshops do ICBEU Manaus, como dos outros centros binacionais ao redor do Brasil. Gente, é isso. De novo. Bye, bye.